Hello everyone, friends. Today I'm going to show you how to make a stretch ceiling with LED lighting along one wall. Let's take a look at the finished result right away so you can decide if this video is worth watching for you. To achieve a result like this, you'll need a special profile. In professional terms, it's called a floating profile. They come in different types with varying distances from the wall. Some are painted, some are unpainted. Today I'll show you the most affordable option. Here's an example of an unpainted profile like that. Let's take a closer look at it. The profile looks like this. The stretch ceiling fabric will be inserted into this groove. Let me go ahead and install a piece right away. Along the edge of the stretch ceiling, a harpoon is welded on at the factory. This harpoon is what holds the tension of the fabric itself. This is a PVC fabric. It is carefully inserted into this precisely engineered groove, and the robust harpoon mechanism securely locks into the intricate profile. Once you have fully inserted the fabric material, it absolutely will not be pulled out again from its secure position. Now let's see where to stick the LED strip in this profile. There are profiles where the LED strip is attached vertically, but in this profile it is attached to the horizontal part. Let's go ahead and stick it on right away. We remove the protective film from the strip and it is attached in the middle of this horizontal part. Just like this. Why does it need to be attached in the middle? So that later you can install a light diffusing PVC end cap like this. In other words, it is installed like this, covering the LED strip. So from below you can only see the end cap itself. And this part here rests against the wall. Let's screw this small piece to the wall. To do this, you need to make a hole. Now we screw it in. The end cap is installed between the profile and the wall. This is precisely how we carefully insert it in there, you see. We looked at this on a sample, and now let's move on to the practical installation of this profile. I'm installing the profiles on a stand. So this isn't a real site, it's not an apartment, it's a training stand. Otherwise you'll start asking questions. Why are there so many holes here? Why is the wallpaper torn here? This is a training stand. So let's get started. Let's start by screwing in these profiles. So on one side we'll have a profile with lighting on this wall. The other walls will use a regular aluminum profile that is attached to the wall. Now let's see how we're going to join them together. I'm screwing in a small piece of profile to figure out how to connect it with the floating profile. We bring in the second profile. Let's see how we need to cut it. So the canvas will be tucked in here and also into this groove. And this part we don't need, it will just get in the way. So we've carefully put the profile into its precise place, and now we are meticulously marking exactly where we absolutely need to cut it. Therefore, we specifically need to precisely cut this particular profile at this exact and predetermined angle. This part here we don't need. At first you can screw in a piece, or once you know the required angle, you can immediately cut it on the miter saw and then join these two profiles together. Let's cut it. Let's just see exactly what we've got here. The bottoms of the profiles line up, but here there's a gap. For this particular profile, that's normal, but with other profiles, for example, painted ones, the profile should go all the way to the wall, because this part is visible on painted profiles, whereas here we'll be installing an end cap. So it's easier to work with this profile. All these holes and cuts will be covered from below by the end cap, so none of this will be visible. To attach a standard wall profile, you need to make a hole in it in advance. The number of holes depends on your wall, how sturdy it is, how well the screw holds in it, and also on the weight of the profile itself. The heavier it is, the more aluminum it contains, and the stronger the profile. So, as you can see, here it's about 25 centimeters, and this is quite a heavy profile. It weighs 200 grams per running meter. If your profile is lighter, then you need more holes. Let's make more. I'm using a special hole punch. If you do not currently possess one, then you can certainly utilize a power drill, for example. Usually the hole diameter is 6 millimeters, because the dowels used are also 6 millimeters. Here on the stand, I have drywall, behind which there is wood. That's why I'll be attaching the profile directly with self-tapping screws. A stretch ceiling is usually installed strictly level, and for this it's best to use a 360-degree laser level. Let's secure this small yet important piece of aluminum profile. The bottom edge of the profile is aligned with the laser. Now let us carefully observe exactly how much we truly need to move the entire profile towards the designated corner. We are now going to carefully take hold of this particular piece, which is an integral component of our current assembly. Our next step involves the precise action of aligning it into its designated position. This alignment process requires a meticulous and delicate touch, ensuring that it is perfectly situated. We will adjust it with great attention to detail, moving it ever so slightly, just a little bit more, until it is positioned exactly like this, achieving the optimal fit and function for the overall structure. You see, at the very bottom the profiles meet. Leave it like that. So we don't need this piece anymore. Hold the profile with your hand and secure it. Screw in all the self-tapping screws, first adjusting the profile to the correct height so it's level. Use the fasteners you need, either dowels or self-tapping screws, whatever is suitable for your wall. First, carefully check that the profile is securely and firmly fastened to the wall. Now, it's absolutely time to meticulously secure the floating profile. This particular profile doesn't have any pre-drilled holes, so you will need to make holes approximately every 15 to 20 centimeters along its length, ensuring a secure attachment. Carefully hold the metal profile up against the wall surface and precisely align it with the guiding beam of the laser level. Then gently place its entire bottom edge securely against the existing regular wall profile. Ensure that the corner perfectly matches up, meticulously check the overall level for accuracy, and finally, firmly secure it into its permanent position. Please check carefully that everything is completely fine. If everything looks good and appears satisfactory, then securely fasten the profile in the remaining available holes, and please do not forget to constantly keep a close eye on the laser level during this process. This part is too low, so the profile needs to be raised higher. Secure it, perfect. Now fasten all the holes we have. Use the necessary fasteners. If it's drywall, use butterfly anchors. If there's wood, use screws. If it's a wall, then use special wall plugs. Carefully check how securely the profile is firmly fastened. It should hardly move at all, remaining completely stable. This particular part of the profile is now securely installed. Next, we need to proceed with the installation of a section of the regular wall profile onto this specific wall, and subsequently, we will carefully measure the precise required length of the floating profile. We must cut the profile from this particular side. To effectively avoid any potential confusion, you can clearly mark it with a suitable marker. Before you actually start any cutting, be absolutely sure to always use appropriate safety glasses to protect your precious eyes and reliable ear protection for your valuable hearing. All good? You can go ahead and cut it. Upon completing the cut, it is highly recommended that you immediately proceed to sand the freshly cut surface thoroughly with appropriate sandpaper. This crucial step ensures the complete removal of any sharp, jagged, or undesirable aluminum burrs that may have formed during the cutting process. By meticulously sanding, you effectively smooth out the edges, preventing potential injuries and preparing the material for subsequent steps or handling, thereby ensuring a clean and safe finish right away. On both sides of the equation, specifically the inside and the outside, considering all aspects and perspectives. If there aren't enough holes, add them. See here on the edge, there's no hole. I won't add another single one in the very middle. That's quite enough. Do it in exactly the same precise way as on the previous corner. Place a standard regular profile against the wall, then carefully take a piece of the floating one. Now, make absolutely sure they line up perfectly. Don't let any profile stick out. See, I let it stick out too much. You shouldn't do that. Align them evenly. Like this, a little higher. Just like that. That's it. Perfect. I carefully hold it firmly with my hand. Then I proceed to remove the unnecessary piece and subsequently fix the profile securely to the wall. Check the profile to make sure it's firmly attached. This part holds well, but here, see, it moves. It needs to be fixed additionally. Now the profile holds perfectly. Now measure the required distance. Place the tape measure against the profile and check the length. You can write this number on the wall or on the profile so you don't forget it, in case you get distracted by a phone call or a conversation. 752. Let's carefully write down the precise numbers. 752. Now let's proceed to accurately cut it. This particular measurement is expressed in millimeters, specifically 752. Let's see where we need to cut. I'll make it a little longer. As I said, I cut it a bit longer. Let's try it on. I can cut off another millimeter and then it'll be fine. Let's try it on again. Place it against the profile and check from this side. Okay, it's good here. Everything is spot on here too. Clean the profile on both sides if necessary. Don't forget the inside. The other end. Make the required number of holes. For a more rigid connection of this profile, you can use a nail. Use a nail with a diameter of 2 millimeters and cut off the head. The nail is inserted into this groove. It fits in quite tightly. That's why you need to treat this part where we cut off the nail head, because it will catch on the profile and it will be very difficult to move the nail in the groove. Insert the nail, and I leave the burr for this profile so it will be easier to insert it later. Now gently push it completely in all the way, making sure it's fully inserted. It might not go in by hand. That's it, the nail isn't sticking out, so we'll leave it like this for now. Take the profile. Hold it up from this side. Fix it in place. Right here at the corner. Tighten it. Now we need to connect it here with a nail. Lower the profile to the required level. You can do it like this. Rest the tip, the tail of the nail, against it. Basically, that's enough. You see, the connection is very rigid. This profile isn't going anywhere. And the bottom lines up perfectly. Now secure all the holes to the wall. Of course, don't forget to check the level so the profile doesn't end up crooked. Let's start connecting. Excellent. The last self-tapping screw. Very rigid indeed. Very. The joint between the profiles needs to be carefully filed down so that there isn't a sharp protruding corner. If you have a particularly sharp corner, you will definitely tear the delicate fabric on it. Take a small, fine file and gently smooth out the entire corner, carefully removing any and all sharp abrasive edges. Work very carefully and precisely so you absolutely do not damage the surrounding wall in any way. Check with your finger to see if there are any sharp spots or if the corner is rounded enough. If your finger doesn't get pricked or scratched by the sharp corner, then it's perfectly fine. You've smoothed it sufficiently and adequately. Do precisely the same with the second corner, carefully using a small, fine file to achieve the desired smoothness. To make the corner even smoother, much rounder, and significantly more seamless, you can carefully take some super glue and precisely apply a little bit of it right into the very corner. Then, gently press on this profile so that it bends gracefully outward, creating a perfectly finished edge. You see, the glue has flowed right here into the joint. Release the profile and you can leave it so the super glue dries. After the super glue, you can sand it with sandpaper. Now let's proceed to make the backlight and carefully stick on the LED strip bikini. Before actually sticking it on, you absolutely need to thoroughly degrease the entire surface where you'll be attaching it. Thoroughly degrease the entire complete length of the aluminum profile. Then carefully take the LED strip and precisely measure the exact required length that you will need for your installation. Hold the material securely in place with one hand, ensuring it is stable. With your other hand, carefully determine the exact length required for the strip, taking into account any necessary allowances. It's certainly easier to do this with two people, but of course you can absolutely do it alone as well. The LED strip can only be cut at certain points. In other words, you can't just cut it wherever you want. If we cut it here, the strip will be too short and it won't look good. So we cut it a little longer. I'm cutting it now. Let's check it one more time. You can even hold it by pressing it against the wall. That's probably how it will work out, since the strip is a bit longer. That's fine. Right at the edge of the profile. And let's check it in that direction. Oh, it's just a little bit longer. Perfect. It's exactly the right size. Now we need to solder the wires to this strip. It's best to power the strip by supplying electricity from both ends. Of course, if you have a small piece like this, you can supply power from just one side, but I recommend doing it from both sides. It's more reliable and the strip will glow with the same brightness everywhere. Solder the wires on this side and on this side. I've soldered flexible wire to both ends of the LED strip. The pieces are small, but you should use solid wire afterward. It's more reliable. At the spot where I soldered, I put on heat shrink tubing to insulate that area. On both ends, just the same. Now we stick the LED strip in place. Remove the protective layer, not all of it, just a part. Thread the wire through this hole. So, in the corner, the profile is 1 centimeter away from the wall, and that's actually an advantage of this profile. It makes it easy to run the wire, and all of this will be covered up later. The light diffusing end cap will hide all of this. Carefully look from below, ensuring a clear view, and then firmly stick it on, making sure it adheres properly. Carefully peel off more of the protective paper backing from the adhesive strip, and then gently and firmly stick on the LED strip onto the desired surface, ensuring a secure and lasting attachment. Keep going, diligently striving to precisely position and firmly stick it right in the absolute center of the designated profile. This careful and deliberate placement is crucial for achieving the desired outcome and ensuring optimal alignment within the specified boundaries. Carefully peel off the protective layer from the adhesive strip, firmly pull the strip taut, and precisely position it in the center of the designated area. Just like this demonstration, gently use your index finger to smooth it down from the middle outwards, and then securely stick it down completely with your other hand, applying even pressure across the entire surface. Press it down firmly. Keep going. Additionally, carefully run the electrical wire out from its designated position and then completely remove the protective film or paper. Work carefully and with precision, ensuring you hold the wire securely in place. Then, meticulously stick down the remaining end of the LED strip, pressing firmly along its entire length to ensure a strong and lasting adhesion to the surface. This careful placement and secure attachment are crucial for the proper functioning and aesthetic appeal of your lighting installation. Now, carefully go along the entire profile, gently pressing the strip down additionally and firmly so that it holds well and securely in place. Of course, you can place the power supply above the ceiling, but then you won't have easy access to it. If the power supply suddenly burns out, how will you replace it? That's why it's best to use a solid wire from the power supply and place the power supply somewhere you have access to it. For example, in a closet. That is, my power supply will not be located in this room. It will be placed behind the wall. Power will come through a solid wire. and I will connect the solid wire to this end of the LED strip. And I will also extend the solid wire to this end. And the power supply will not be located here, it will be placed outside the room. Electricity comes from the power supply through this wire. There are 24 volts here. Let's check if our LED strip works. I'm connecting it from one end. We'll check from both ends, from this end of the LED strip and from the other end. That way, we'll know if we soldered it well. In other words, it should work from both here and there. Connecting it. The LED strip is working fine. Now let's check from the other end. Disconnecting here. Connecting a thick, robust power wire through which the electrical current will flow. We do the same from the other end. Connecting the negative and positive, the LED strip should turn on. Yes, everything works. And right away you can see I didn't tape up this corner. With aluminum tape, you see, the light gets behind the canvas and it will shine through unattractively. Here's what this corner looks like. Now let's immediately check the other corner. This corner is taped up, so you see the light doesn't get through here. We'll proceed to do precisely the same operation with this particular corner now. We will carefully take a piece of durable aluminum tape and meticulously seal it up completely. Alright, please press it down very well. Tear off another piece. Since it's generally more reliable and efficient to supply electrical power to the entire LED strip from both ends, I will carefully connect it from this particular side as well. First, connecting the negative wire and then securely attaching the positive wire to ensure a proper and stable connection. Done. Now we can install the light diffusing end cap. It will make the light softer. You see right now there's a sharp edge from the light. I don't really like that. It's better when the light softly spreads along the wall. Let's install the part and you'll see it right away. We're installing the corner piece. See, now that edge is blurred immediately, so we get rid of that harsh light. Yes, the light becomes brighter, but those sharp edges just don't look good. That's why we install it along the entire length. This end cap also covers these holes that we made, so everything will look nice from below. This end cap doesn't interfere with stretching the ceiling because it only covers the upper groove. And the place where the fabric is tucked in, this end cap doesn't cover. I genuinely try to show you absolutely everything with truly minimal video editing, so that you can clearly see precisely how it's thoroughly done and consequently be fully able to accurately repeat it entirely by yourself with complete confidence. We go through it once, installing the plug, and then once again you finally hear it click into place. That is the first time I couldn't get it all the way in. Now listen. Oh, that's it. Now it's locked in place and will stand firmly. See how great that looks. You cannot see any individual diodes. Everything glows in a perfectly solid, uniform color. We then approach the precise corner, and it becomes necessary to carefully cut off the excess material. check it. It's okay if you don't cut it right the first time. It's better if the plug is a bit too long at first than if you cut it too short right away. Carefully and precisely insert the tip of the component near the wall first, ensuring a proper initial placement. Then with a steady and firm motion, push the end cap in all the way until it is fully seated and secure. The installation process is now successfully completed. Everywhere you will find a soft, beautifully diffused light, and from below, absolutely nothing extra or unsightly will be visible. In other words, the actual profile itself won't be seen at all. You'll only clearly see the elegantly glowing end cap. This particular part of the installation is now completely done and finished, but we still crucially need to carefully install the regular standard wall profile. Let's do it together. Measure from the corner to the installed profile. Write down this measurement right away. 1, 2, 5, 8. But we write it down 1 centimeter less. So 1, 2, 4, 8. Let's write it down so we don't forget. 1, 2, 4, 8, and now let's go cut the profile. We made a mark in the right place. That is, we measure from this edge of the profile and make a mark on the back side. Not the front, but the back, because that's where we'll be cutting. We need to cut through the back part of the profile. The front part remains intact. As you can see, the back part of the profile is cut, the front is whole, and now we can bend the profile to form a corner. If the hole isn't enough, by the way, there are profiles where the hole is already made, but at the edge there isn't one, so we add a hole at the edges of the profile. We turn on the laser level since we're installing the profile strictly horizontally. Let's try it on. The profile perfectly fits into position. I carefully hold it firmly in place, and then I proceed to securely fasten and attach it. As you can see, I'm using profiles from different manufacturers. They have slightly different heights, but the most important thing is to align the bottom part evenly, then your ceiling will be level. We join them together and fix them in place. Now we carefully secure the entire profile all the way around the whole perimeter. I fasten the profile approximately every 15 centimeters. Here, the fastening is more frequent, every 10 centimeters. But this profile, as you remember, is more rigid. The holes here were made at a greater distance, so here it's 19 centimeters. It all truly depends on which specific profile you ultimately choose to use and precisely how structurally strong your wall actually is. Check the chosen profile to see exactly how well it's secured. Apply sufficient pressure with your finger. The profile absolutely shouldn't bend, so look, I'll carefully loosen it a bit now. You see, the profile noticeably moves. The back part completely comes off. That simply won't do. The back part should be immobile, and the force should only be applied to the front side of the profile. See, then it's properly secured. This profile is secured, so we can move on to installing the profile on this side, or we can start installing the profile from over here. It's up to you. Some people are used to working clockwise, others counterclockwise. Do whatever is more convenient for you. Measure by placing the tape measure into the corner, see what numbers you get, and subtract 1 centimeter. Write down this value, 1-1-7-3. Let me now proceed to cut this particular profile using a slightly different method. It's a bit more rough and ready, but it is certainly much faster and more efficient for this task. You can easily use metal shears for this task. Here's our mark. Make a cut from this side Insert the shears all the way in until they stop and cut through. At the same time, the profile gets a bit deformed on the backside, and now it needs to be broken off. The front part stays intact, but you'll have to adjust the back a little. Take your pliers and carefully straighten out the entire back part that unfortunately got significantly deformed. Okay. The corner is now fully prepared and ready for the next step in the process. It is crucial that you do not forget to properly treat the very ends of the profile, ensuring they are finished correctly. Additionally, take the time to carefully smooth out the entire corner area, making certain that these specific parts are not left sharp or jagged. Always confirm your work by gently checking the surface with your finger to ensure a perfectly smooth and safe finish. You can effectively use sandpaper or a file such as a metal file to achieve the desired result. Yes, the fabric doesn't bend over these parts, but still you could damage the stretch sealing fabric, so it's better to make sure there are no sharp edges. And the last edge. Let's try it on. Do not lower it below this level to avoid freezing or scratching your walls. It's better to lower it from top to bottom. No need for anything lower. Let this part be shown, because if you do it like this, then suddenly you will scratch the wallpaper. It would be better if it were higher. Okay, hold it. Let's take a look. The profile fits, we can secure it. I'm carefully holding it firmly with my hand, meticulously screwing it in, immediately and securely fastening this particular part, so that it absolutely doesn't cause any damage to the surrounding walls, then gently and precisely lowering it to the exact required level, ensuring a perfect fit and optimal positioning. The angle needs to go a bit lower. Alright, and I fix it in place. Now all that's truly left to do is to carefully cut the profile perfectly straight and then secure it thoroughly and firmly in place. And this one, of course, needs to be done too. The profile is installed around the entire perimeter of the room. And now we need to tape up these joints. We use the same aluminum tape. We meticulously tape it in two distinct layers. First, a smaller, carefully positioned piece of tape is applied, and then a larger one is placed, deliberately overlapping the initial piece to ensure a secure and robust hold. Furthermore, there is also a visible joint located on the captivating glowing floating profile. We will proceed to tape that particular section as well, ensuring its stability and seamless integration. First, carefully tear off a suitable piece of the material, then gently insert a portion of it inside the profile, ensuring it is properly positioned. Finally, firmly stick the spatula onto the surface, just like this. To carefully tuck in the fabric, I am using a specially bent one here. Stick the tape inside. Done. Another joint. I just really stick on a small piece. And an even bigger one that has an overlap. Done. Now it's time to stretch the fabric. The ceiling is made of PVC fabric. A robust harpoon is meticulously welded along the entire edge of the durable fabric, which firmly holds it in its designated profile. So that the fabric doesn't simply lie loosely on the floor, we carefully secure it with these specialized kinds of clips, ensuring a snug and proper fit. Multi-bite. We've securely attached the fabric now. You can now safely and carefully unfold it. You can easily make a very useful clip out of these robust construction clamps. And this strong rubber band with a convenient hook is specifically designed for securely securing various weights. We cut it in half, thread it through, and tie a knot. This way we get a hook that's just right for us. In a regular wall profile, this kind of hook is very easy to attach. We just insert it into the corner like this, and that's it. Pull it tight and hook the fabric. That's it. The fabric will securely hang in place, suspended perfectly, ensuring it won't drag or get soiled on the floor. Now, carefully and smoothly unroll the entire length of the fabric, making sure it lays out evenly, and then proceed to firmly hook the next corner into its designated position. In the corners where the floating profile meets the regular profile, it can be hard to insert the actual corner because, as you can see, the harpoon overlaps here and creates a thicker section. If you find that you are unable to effectively tuck this particular part of the corner securely into its designated position, a practical solution is to simply cut off the harpoon-shaped section, just like this. This action ensures that the overly thick and cumbersome part is completely removed, allowing for a much smoother and more precise fit. Remove this overlapping part of the harpoon. Now it will be easier for us to tuck the corner in there. Now we heat up the fabric. I'm using an electric heat gun since the area here is small. Of course, for larger areas you need to use a gas heat gun, but here I don't need it. We heat it so that the fabric becomes softer. You can actually see it becomes more like cloth, softer and more pliable. And right away we check the harpoon by hand. It should also become softer so that it can be easily inserted into the profile. Immediately insert the spatula into the harpoon and now carefully and slowly insert it into the profile. Into one profile and then into the other. We'll insert this part, helping with your fingers from inside the fabric so that the corner here doesn't tear. You support it with your finger and then tuck in the fabric. That's it, this corner is done. I'll tuck in a little more here now. That's it, let's keep moving forward. You can go either clockwise or counterclockwise. Along the arrows or diagonally. See which way is more convenient for you. Now you'll have to heat not just the corner, but the entire fabric. It's best when the whole fabric is warm, then it will all stretch evenly. So if you have open spaces, windows, or doors, it's better to close them so the heat stays throughout the room. That way, it will be easier for you to work. In this corner, I won't cut off this part. I'll try to tuck it in as is, but in that case, I need to heat it better so the harpoon becomes softer and more pliable. I'm carefully heating along the entire length, gently warming up the corner area, and then I will carefully tuck it in. Carefully insert the spatula, then gently pull it toward the nearest corner and meticulously tuck it in from one side and then with precision from the other side as well. Now use your finger from inside the fabric. As you can see, I'm pressing and tucking it all the way in. Now you can stretch it a little to remove any wrinkles if you have them here. I'm just tucking it in a little bit more right now. And now we move on to the next corners. I'm heating the entire fabric. Try not to keep the heat gun in one spot. With an electric one, of course, you won't burn through the ceiling, but if you're using a gas gun, you should always keep it moving so the heat is distributed evenly. If you hold the gas gun in one place like this, you'll burn through the fabric. Be careful. I carefully insert the spatula into the precise corner, then gently pull the fabric firmly toward that same corner, and finally, I securely insert the tab from the inside into its designated slot. There's just one last corner left. I'm heating it up. Now we heat up this little corner and move toward the very corner. With an electric heat gun, you need to heat for much longer than with a gas one. Detach the clip. Insert the spatula into the corner. With one hand pull it tight, and as you can see, the profile is a bit too narrow. You need to adjust it with the spatula first so that the gap is even. First, gently pull with one hand to create the necessary space, then carefully insert it into place. Next, firmly hold it securely. Finally, neatly tuck it in. We place the tab from the inside. All the corners are tucked in. Now we proceed as follows. Carefully heat up a section of the ceiling, then precisely divide this distance in half, gently heat it, and carefully tuck it in. Heat it, then tuck it in securely. And then, if you happen to have a really large distance, you should divide it in half again, and then gently tuck it in. First, I carefully apply heat to the item, ensuring it reaches the appropriate temperature. Following this, I then proceed to gently tuck it into its designated place, making sure it is securely positioned. Do exactly the same with the other wall. I gently heat it, and then I carefully tuck it in, nice and snug. I gently heat it up, ensuring it's perfectly warm, and then I carefully tuck it in, making sure it's snug and secure. It's considerably more difficult to carefully insert the fabric into the floating profile, so you should definitely start working here first. That is, you do the corners first, then a few tacks. And then, on the floating profile, you can tuck it in more frequently, because if you pull the fabric in there, it will be harder and you'll have to pull more here, and it's also harder to tuck it in here. So you can carefully tuck it in small sections just like this, and then smoothly move on to working on the other walls. With one hand, gently pull it tight, firmly hold it in place, and then very carefully and precisely tuck it in all the way around the entire perimeter. I've already started the process of tucking it in continuously, without any interruptions. If you get any wrinkles, heat that spot a bit more. While the fabric is being heated, most small wrinkles usually disappear on their own. Tuck it in, and then it's done. Heat it up thoroughly, and then carefully tuck the fabric in. How exactly can this delicate fabric be torn? The spatula itself is made of metal, and the profile is crafted from aluminum, so these are inherently rigid and unyielding materials. Therefore, it is absolutely best if they do not come into direct contact with each other at all. So here, keep a gap between them. If you carefully do it like this and gently move the spatula, you will inevitably end up tearing the delicate fabric. Carefully tuck in the remaining, extended part of the abutting profile while gently heating it with a suitable tool. You can check with your hands whether it's enough, whether the fabric stretches. pull it tighter and carefully without rushing. Tuck it in. Alright, that's it. It's completely done. Looks like there's a very small part right here that didn't quite go in properly. That's it. I'm going to carefully check with my hands to make absolutely sure everything is perfectly tucked in. Here, we are all set. You can't even see it. It's better to fix it. Everything is ready. Now we tuck in these remaining parts. This is much easier now. You can see some wrinkles here, but that's not a problem. We heat it up, start inserting, and the wrinkles disappear. So we carefully apply heat to the material, ensuring it reaches the optimal temperature for pliability. Then, with precision, we gently tuck in the fabric, making sure it is securely positioned and smoothed out. You can see wrinkles have formed here too. The noticeable wrinkles appeared on my fabric because this particular fabric is actually from a neighboring stand, and consequently the size is a little bit different there, and my overall tension is quite uneven. So in this direction there is tension. You can see how much is missing here, but in this direction there is almost no tension. That's why these wrinkles form. If the tension were even, there wouldn't be any wrinkles. In general, a stretch ceiling is made smaller than your room. By standard, about 8%. So the larger the ceiling, the more you have to stretch it. But of course, these specific percentages can be readily adjusted. For example, if you find yourself just a little bit short on the available fabric width, you can certainly increase the shrinkage percentage, and then, as a wonderful result, your entire ceiling will be completely seamless. PVC fabrics come in different widths. Currently the maximum width of the fabric is 5 and 8 meters, plus you get the percentage for stretching. So you can actually make up to a very impressive 6.5 meters completely seamless, ensuring that your entire fabric piece is truly one solid, continuous piece. That's it, I'm done. Now let's turn on the floating profile and see what we've got. By the way, this is how it looks when it's turned off. Here is a white plug which diffuses the light. It looks good. I don't see any defects, but as for the wall defects, I think you understand that this is a training stand and there are a lot of holes here. Oh, I forgot to tuck in a piece here. Let us embark on this endeavor together as a unified team to meticulously prepare and elevate the temperature of the item in question, ensuring it reaches its optimal warmth. Following this crucial step, we shall then carefully and snugly position it, securing it in its designated place with precision and care, thereby completing the process collaboratively and effectively. If you're working as a pair, your partner goes ahead of you, heating the sections that need to be tucked in, and you follow behind, tucking in the sections that have already been heated. So your partner heats up a section, you stay where the heat gun isn't being used, then your partner moves forward and you tuck in the section that was just heated, and so on. The distance from the floating profile to the wall is approximately 15 millimeters. For a regular profile, this distance is of course smaller. And for a regular profile, there is also this decorative end cap. It is inserted right into this part. That is, here, between the wall and the profile, and also into this large gap. You see, there are indeed two distinct tabs located right here, and you will carefully need to fit it precisely in between them so that the aluminum component goes right in here, securely and perfectly. Just like this. Let's install a section. There we go. We place it flush with the canvas like this. To gently push it in all the way, you can effectively use a convenient spatula, ensuring a smooth and complete insertion. This is precisely how it will appear with the decorative and elegant end cap. If you happen to have any other significantly large baseboards, then you should securely glue these baseboards directly to the wall. You absolutely do not need to glue them to the canvas because it's not rigid at all, it's quite soft and flexible. Let's turn on the backlight and see the result. I'm turning off the main light. Look, friends, the texture of the wallpaper has become even more pronounced. That is to say, you can clearly see there are some specific areas that genuinely look as if the wallpaper itself was somewhat wrinkled. So now, these particular areas look much more visually interesting. But please do keep in mind that the entire wall absolutely needs to be perfectly even and smooth. If your wall is uneven, it's better not to use this kind of profile, because you'll get this effect. See? For example, there are bumps on my finger and there's a shadow behind them, and it will be the same on the wall. If you have a bump, there will be a shadow underneath it, and it will be immediately obvious that your wall is uneven. Either you have a special decorative effect, like some waves on the wall, which will look great, or something that looks like stone, which also looks really good. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the video. I tried to make it as informative as possible, so that you could understand how to install this kind of ceiling yourself. See you in the next videos. Leave your comments. I'll be glad to hear from you. See you next time.